Hi, my name's David Hellier. I'm Director of Events at ILM Exhibitions, and we run the WWEM, which is the Water, Wastewater and Environmental Monitoring event, and AQE, which is the Air Quality and Emissions show. And today I just wanted to do a very quick video just to give you a little bit of an insight into what the WWEM and AQE events are going to look like in a virtual format, and also hopefully explain some of the benefits as to why you might want to exhibit. So let's start by talking about what is a virtual event. So I'm sure you're probably all familiar with physical exhibitions. You've probably attended physical exhibitions. You have probably exhibited at physical exhibitions, and obviously from the picture behind me, you can see what it would normally be like at a typical WWEM or AQE event. And it's entirely possible you've probably exhibited and visited a virtual event over this last year. I know a lot of events had to go virtual in 2020, and obviously so far in the first half of this year. So I should probably start off by saying, what do I think a virtual event isn't? And I think the key thing for us is that it isn't a replacement for a physical show. It is a different opportunity. And I think where we've seen a number of event organisers fall down is trying to replicate a physical show over a digital medium. And I just don't think it works. I think we have to approach this in a different way and really look at it as a completely different opportunity, much in the same way that you have probably already done webinars and YouTube videos and other digital content, obviously prior to the pandemic. So if we jump in, I can show you and share my screen what the WWEM and AQE virtual events will look like. Okay, so this is a homepage for an event. So it is a demo event. It's a fashion show. We're in the process of reskinning this for WWEM and AQE, and we'll have a version to show and share with you in a couple of weeks' time. But for the time being, I just wanted to show you an event, what it looks like and how it works on the platform. So when you log in, this is what you're greeted with on home screen. It works on all major web browsers. You don't have to install any plugins. It also exists as an Apple app and as an Android app. So there's lots of different ways to log in and engage with this event. And one of the key areas is obviously going to be the content that's delivered out here. So that content is delivered out through this system on here. It works through either Vimeo or YouTube, so it's really kind of enterprise level streaming. People can change bandwidth options. So if we have people attending from countries that don't necessarily have high levels of internet connections, they can drop the bandwidth down on there, and it's very, very easy to engage with the content. They can ask questions, they can network with other people who are watching the content. They can ask questions and actually upvote the questions in this area here, and there's also an area for polling as well, so speakers can set polls and quizzes and sort of really add to the interactivity of the event. If I click across and show you the exhibitor profiles, so one thing you'll notice as we've clicked across this area, the conference content carries on running. That was a really important feature for us. We saw so many platforms where you're kind of watching the conference content, and if you were to come over to the exhibitor area, you kind of lose and jump out of that room. But this was a really nice system that kind of allows you to carry on listening to that content, engaging with that content. You can double click it and jump straight back in as well, which we really liked. I'll take you across here. I'll close that down for now and show you one of the booths. So we've seen quite a few events go for three-dimensional booths. These are more two-dimensional profiles than booths, which we thought just made so much more sense on a digital medium. It's how we interact with other digital content. Doesn't seem that there would be any other reason to change it and try and do anything three-dimensional. It just adds to the complexity for exhibitors to put graphics together, and it adds probably to the complexity, I think, of attendees as well. I've attended a few events that kind of went for that three-dimensional booth approach, and I just felt it didn't really work very well. So there's lots of opportunities on your profile here. You've got an option to put video on your profile. You can have your company information. You can have your products listed. You can have sessions that you're speaking in, and attendees can kind of add those to their agenda and receive notifications. And the key way an attendee will reach out to you is using this box here, this chat box, and they'll ask you a question. And at that point, you can have a designated member of staff that receives that message and then can either share it on to another member of staff who's exhibiting, or reply directly to them, or book a meeting with another member of staff at a set time. You have this kind of book a meeting option here, which is all controllable through a back end for exhibitors. But one of the key areas I really wanted to share with you, and one of the key reasons for exhibiting, is this next area here. So unlike a physical event, because it's digital and because we can protect the personal information of attendees behind a sort of acceptance and request system, you can actually see the attendee list. So you can see everyone who is exhibiting at the event and everyone who's attending the event, and you can actually reach out to them, send them a connection request, invite them along to your talk, start that conversation with them. And once they accept your request, that's a data capture point. You do then have access to their contact details, and you can reach out to them and engage with them on other platforms or via email. We've got an area for speakers. Again, very similar functionality. All the speakers can be listed on here. We have a digital video library, so there's opportunities to put kind of pre-recorded content on here as well. And one of the important things to note with this is all of the content on this system stays live for a full year. So anything you do on here, any talks you give, anything on your booth, that's still going to be live on here. And as attendees come back later on in the year, or if they come back to watch on-demand content and they engage with your booth, you'll still receive a notification to say, look, someone's asked you a question. So it does really have a very long lifespan. It was something that we really thought was positive for the event. So really, in my mind, the first reason for exhibiting really is the need to engage with end users. We know physical events play such an important part of the marketing mix. It's to do with connecting end users with manufacturers, but also providing those kind of intra-exhibitor opportunities as well. So, networking with other exhibitors, maybe that's finding distributors, finding product lines to represent, new partnerships, collaborations. And whilst we can't meet face-to-face, and I'm very confident that face-to-face events will return, I think it's going to take a little bit of time for everyone to feel comfortable to come out and really make the most of those face-to-face opportunities. A virtual event really gives us that opportunity to bridge a gap. Secondly, as I mentioned during the demonstration, you've got a very long exposure through this, so you actually have a full year of all the content on there. We can actually add content on here as well. So if you've got follow-up talks, or if you want to add some additional content to the on-demand library, you can add that. And if someone engages with you at that point, you still capture all their details. You still have that opportunity for branding. And I know I've done it with other virtual events that have got this similar functionality. I've listened to a talk that I thought was very good, and I've actually gone back later on to either re-listen to it or listen to a follow-up to that talk. Obviously, with this event, with it being digital, we've got an opportunity to expose the exhibitors and the products to a much wider audience. Obviously, when we run this physically, it's normally at Telford. We get people attending from all over the UK, and that's great. But we also know there's people who, to ask someone to travel down from Scotland, across from Northern Ireland, up from the south coast, or even Northern Europe, it is a big ask. People have to commit a couple of days. There's travel expenses. People are obviously very conscious of budgets at the moment, and I think by offering that way of attending something virtually, it means we can reach a wider audience. And obviously through the platforms we have, through the International Environmental Technology platform and publication, we really can reach a global audience with this. So we have a much higher chance of bringing in very good quality visitors who are going to be interested in hearing about your products and your services. Now, the final reason that really what I think is one of the biggest reasons to consider at this event is it is a very, very low cost marketing option. So we have packages starting from £1,895. There's no travel costs on top of that. There's no hotel costs on top of that. You don't have to buy an additional electric connection. There's no printed graphic requirements or printed materials or staff expenses there. So it really is kind of a very succinct package in the sense that you buy your virtual exhibition profile, you put your content on there. It's very, very easy to put your content on there, and you really are getting that full year's worth of content. So if you like what you've seen so far and you'd like to have an extended demo of the platform, or if you'd like to discuss sponsorship opportunities, please do get in touch. The best email to get me on is david@ilmexhibitions.com. I'll put my information in the description to this video below. I'll also put in there homepage links for WWEM and AQE, because there's loads more information on the websites. So hope to hear from you. Please do get in touch, and thanks for watching.